great monuments serve as symbols to the history of humankind and capture the spirit of the place. In New York, dreams and hopes of newcomers to the city formed the Statue of Liberty. In Gdańsk, the visit to the monument to the Fallen Shipyard Workers 1970 has been a symbolic gesture commemorating the tragic fight for freedom in Poland and an appreciation of the peaceful revolution of solidarity that started here. The monument recalls the protests of December 1970, the strike of the shipyard workers in August 1980, and the workers' demand to commemorate their fallen colleagues.
In December 1970, Polish communist government introduced a drastic rise of food prices, which hit the poorest. The workers from Gdańsk Lenin shipyard were first to protest, demanding negotiations with the authorities. In response to their protests, armed forces were sent to the streets. Bloody clashes unfolded in Gdańsk and in the cities of Polish Baltic coast. Thousands were brutally beaten and arrested. Dozens of people were killed.
Soon after the tragic events of December 1970, an engineer from shipyard, Mr. Pietruszka, designed a monument. During the August strike of 1980, the workers demanded a memorial for the fallen colleagues. At the time, the Social Committee for the construction of the monument was founded and raised money for the cause. Against the communist government, it was the shipyard workers who built 3 crosses and mounted anchors on them. On a monument, they also put a verse from You Who Wronged, a poem by Czesław Miłosz, a Nobel Prize laureate.
On the cold winter evening of December 16, 1980, thousands of people heard the names of fallen workers and students killed by the communist regime in December 1970. The feeling of unity was growing in the crowd while Lech Wałęsa, one of the leaders of December 1970 protests, but now also a charismatic leader of the victorious August 1980 strikes, lit the fire between the 3 crosses. The first public performance of Lacrimosa by Polish composer Krzysztof Penderecki added to the air of dignity. It was the first time that new, just 3 months old independent trade union Solidarności was commemorating victims fallen in the fight for freedom. The first such celebration behind the Iron Curtain.
In the 80s, leaders of the free world came to Gdańsk to pay their tribute to the heroes of the Polish fight for democracy. There were politicians like Margaret Thatcher or François Mitterrand, trade unions representatives or people of culture. Pope John Paul II stood alone by the monument as communist authorities forbade the public from meeting him here in 1987. But within a month from a semi-free election in 1989, US President George H.W. Bush was speaking at the same place. To those who think that freedom can be forever denied, I say, let them look at Poland. Nowadays, royals, heads of states, and guests from all over the world visit the monument to reflect upon the history and democracy in Europe.
It is fascinating how the symbol from 40 years ago can still live its own life today. This is where support rallies were held during the Euromaidan revolution in Ukraine. On the anniversary of the birth of Solidarity movement, it was here that people gathered to express their support for free Belarus. They came with hope that Belarus too will soon see human dignity respected.
Żyje Białoruś!
story of struggle for freedom has no end.